Hey there, Steemit Open Mic 69. How are you? I hope you're well. This is an original called Theodicy, influenced by one of my favorite bands growing up, The Band. Anyway, I'm going to kind of start off this open mic talking about a vlog on the nature of reality. Now, of course, if you're not interested in that thing, just skip to the music or whatever it is that you do. But there are some of us that are still interested in this question, although fewer and fewer these days. I'll start off by saying that this particular vlog post is not vetted by the usual suspects of religion and financial control of the planet, which are one and the same thing. I'll start off by saying that who should be interested in this blog post are atheists and materialists, because it's an interesting question, one of the most interesting questions of our time, of how humanity has been reduced to objects of financial exploitation by the capitalist machine. And this is our condition today. And I think, we should be concerned about it. I recently did a blog post called Dog Eat Dog and Top Dog and His Bitches, where I suggested that the capitalist mode is actually lowly evolved, limbic system, reptilian, a mode of being. So if we look at, I argued in that blog post that if we look at the history of evolution, as far as we know, it was unconscious. It was, non-thinking processes that led to this, Darwinian natural selection situation. And if you implement a financial system that's based on dog eat dog and natural selection, you have actually factually implemented a system based on unthinking processes, limbic system, lowly evolved modes of operation. I think this has got to be indisputable. Now, of course, this came out, our present system came out of the age of reason, but in a great ironic reversal. I would say there's not very much that's reasonable about the financial system when it's predicated on lowly evolved mechanisms. Okay, so that would be the first thing I have to say here. Now, I'll sort of transition here to religion, and the problem of evil as far as, traditional religion sort of views it. And I can't touch on it too much in a short blog post, but there's some serious problems, especially within Western theism, because, if you go back to the roots of Western theism, it's clear, it's unequivocally clear that the evil figure, the evil archetype, Satan, was a sergeant of God. I mean, this is indisputable. It's so indisputable that even, most traditional Jewish people today who practice Judaism understand this. They understand that Satan was a sergeant of God, performing God's dirty work. I'm a fool to do your dirty work, eh? Simply for the devil sometimes. But the point being that what's happened to this narrative of evil has become completely incoherent, in my opinion. So now we have to talk about 2,000 years ago, in this Jewish itinerant rabbi, and what he had to say on the subject. And there's no possible way that he could have contradicted the Jewish understanding of Satan 2,000 years ago. It's not possible that he could and would have done that. He would have understood Satan in the same way that the Tanakh and the Torah would have understand Satan today. This should be indisputable. So there's a real problem with Christianity about when a sergeant of God supposedly turned into an adversary of everything. Well, what, 70 AD when the temple was sacked, all of a sudden, this servant of God said, okay, I'm done with this, man. I'm going after all of you, and I'm going after God too. So when's the timeline for this servant of God, this adversary, doing something different and making everybody an enemy, including God? I mean, this is a real problem within Western theism, and I would argue that it's grounds for dismissal of all theism based on that idea, and that's all of Christian theology and all of Islamic theology, because although there's a little twerk within, tweak within, hey there, within Islamic theology, it's still the same thing, Now, this leaves us with, Judaic thoughts on Satan, and I'm not going to get into that here. I'm going to do some videos upcoming exploring that idea, and especially esoteric Judaism and their view on this situation and that. And these will tie into the JQ questions and the AQ questions, the alien question, and stuff like that. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to also mention that this universe, from a Christian Gnostic perspective, and I fully concede that it's a very idiosyncratic view I hold, that this universe itself isn't evil. Okay, duality, up down, male female, it's not evil. But something happened within the processes of this coming into being that I believe that has been obscured, and whatever it was, it's known as the demiurge. It enacted predatory mindsets, within this particular. Now, whether this is local or not. Now, what very well could be going on here is extraterrestrial. Perhaps God is not relevant in this scenario, where God would have as much relevance to, comparatively to an elephant in India and a cat in Chicago. I mean, there's no relevance there. So maybe there is no relevance to God per se, as far as traditional understanding of God. But if there's old extraterrestrial malevolent intelligence involved on this planet, and there's also, interdimensional archons involved here. And if DNA has been manipulated, the nucleic acid, riboflavin, rib, get it? Rib? and we created Eve from the rib, right? Anyway, what I'm suggesting here from a Gnostic view is that there's a certain mindset within the archonic demiurge, the sphere of influence, that has created, this evil condition here. Now, it could be local, or, that's sort of my, where I lean towards. I don't believe that, as a Gnostic, that the whole universe is evil, because Sophia and Christos created it, or they're involved in creating it, so it couldn't be evil. So, yeah, that's about it. I think what I'll do is in the Steemit blog post, I'll link what I consider are highly evolved frontal lobe systems of finance that could be implemented, that aren't predicated on lowly, non-thinking limbic systems. I call it the global common civilization. And I need to touch on one last thing too, as I will link that, but it goes to what I think is the essence of religion, and it's the golden rule, but it's a very specific understanding of the golden rule, which is predicated on not enacting unnecessary exploitation of other life forms and other humans, for your personal gain and profit, and especially not doing it by force and coercion. And this is the key to all of religion, and any religion that any spiritual philosophy that breaks that fundamental truism of all spirituality is useless, in my opinion. And it really does put a dent in the capitalist modes of thinking, and the exploitation of labor, the exploitation of rents. All of this is just, lowly evolved limbic system ways of doing and being, and it will lead to our destruction. But I'm not a prophet, so I'm not, that's just an opinion. Anyway, cheers. Peace out. Peace the fuck out. www.andrewmarkmusic.com on Theodicy.
Crooked miles, wears faded jeans and faded smiles on a ragged ass road, lonely and cold. It ain't no fun getting old. And it's been my closest friend into hell and back, and once again I'm halfway to nowhere, caught in between this life and the next, and a crazy dream.